You will not believe what happens to the girl at the end. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can continue writing stories like this one. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.
The stagecoach rattled and swayed, kicking up a cloud of red dust that seemed to cling to everything in Harmony Gulch. Clara adjusted her spectacles, peering out the window at the small, sun-baked town. Harmony Gulch wasn't exactly what she'd pictured when she answered the advertisement for a mail-order bride. The advertisement had promised a life of partnership and purpose she hoped that held true. Clara wasn't looking for romance, not exactly. She was looking for a place to use her skills to heal and help. Back east, women weren't encouraged to be doctors even if they had the knowledge and the passion. Out west, perhaps things would be different. Perhaps here, a woman could be judged by her abilities, not just her gender. Her name was Clara Ainsworth, and she carried with her a bag full of medical books, a sturdy doctor's bag, and a heart full of hope. She smoothed the wrinkles from her simple blue dress and took a deep breath as the stagecoach lurched to a stop in front of the dusty general store. Stepping down, Clara shielded her eyes from the bright sun. The air was dry and hot, and the wind carried the scent of sagebrush and cattle. Cowboys lounged on the porch of the saloon, their eyes following her every move. A few townsfolk bustled about, their faces weathered and worn. This was it. This was her new beginning. She spotted a sign that read Harmony Gulch Gazette, Inquire Within. Perhaps the newspaper office was a good place to start. She needed to find the man who had sent for her, Mr. Silas Blackwood. His letters had been brief but kind, promising her a place to stay and the opportunity to practice medicine. Clara clutched her doctor's bag a little tighter and started walking towards the Gazette office. She felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. This town was rough and unfamiliar, but it was also full of possibilities. She had come to Harmony Gulch to make a difference, and she was determined to do just that, one patient at a time. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but Clara Ainsworth wasn't one to back down from a challenge. She had a dream, and she intended to see it through, even in this dusty, sun-baked corner of the Wild West. Harmony Gulch was a place where the wind howled like a lonely wolf and the sun beat down with relentless force. The buildings were mostly made of wood, weathered gray by the elements. The saloon was the grandest building in town, its double doors always swinging open to the sounds of laughter, music, and the occasional brawl. Next to it stood the general store, its shelves stocked with everything from flour and sugar to boots and blankets. A blacksmith hammered away at his forge, sparks flying into the air, while stray dogs slept in the shade of the hitching posts. The town was surrounded by vast, rolling plains dotted with cacti and scrub brush. In the distance, the jagged peaks of the mountains rose against the clear blue sky. It was a harsh but beautiful land, a place where people had to be tough and resourceful to survive. Billy was a small boy, no older than 7, with bright blue eyes and a mop of unruly brown hair. He was the son of the general store owner and spent most of his days exploring the town, his bare feet kicking up dust as he ran. He loved to watch the cowboys ride into town, their horses snorting and pawing the ground. He dreamed of one day being a cowboy himself, riding across the plains and rounding up cattle. Billy's favorite spot was near the general store where the delivery wagons often unloaded their supplies. He loved to watch the drivers heave heavy sacks of flour and crates of goods from the wagons, his small hands itching to help. He'd often ask questions, his curiosity insatiable. The drivers, usually gruff men, would often soften at his innocent inquiries, sharing stories of their travels and the goods they carried. Sometimes Billy would pretend that the wooden crates were his own wagons and he would push them around, making engine noises and imagining himself as a brave pioneer. He'd even gather small stones and arrange them to represent herds of cattle, carefully guiding them along imaginary trails. He was a bright and imaginative child, full of energy and curiosity. He was also a bit reckless, often running into the street without looking, his mind lost in his own little world. This worried his parents, who constantly warned him to be careful around the wagons and horses. But Billy was a child of the Wild West, and adventure was in his blood. He loved the excitement and freedom of Harmony Gulch, even with its dangers. He never imagined that one day, that recklessness would put him in grave danger. The rumble started subtly, a low vibration in the dusty ground, almost imperceptible against the ever-present wind. But then it grew louder and louder, until it became a deafening roar. The townsfolk, used to the sounds of horses and wagons, paused in their activities, a sense of unease settling over them. Billy, completely engrossed in his game of cowboys and cattle, didn't notice at first. He was too busy herding his imaginary herd of stones, his brow furrowed in concentration. He'd fashioned a small whip from a piece of twine, cracking it with practiced flicks of his wrist. "Yeehaw!" he shouted, his voice barely audible above the wind. Suddenly a shadow fell over him. He looked up, his eyes widening in terror. A large wagon pulled by two frantic horses was barreling down the street directly towards him. The driver was nowhere to be seen. The horses' eyes were wide with panic, their manes flying in the wind, their hooves pounding the earth with thunderous force. The wagon, loaded high with crates of supplies, swayed dangerously from side to side. Someone screamed, "Run, Billy, run!" But it was too late. Billy was frozen in fear, his legs rooted to the spot. The wagon was coming closer and closer, its massive wheels threatening to crush him. He could hear the frantic neighing of the horses, the creaking of the wagon, the shouts of the townspeople. The world seemed to slow down, the sounds blurring into a cacophony of noise. He squeezed his eyes shut, waiting for the inevitable. The horses, sensing the danger, whinnied in distress, their movements becoming even more erratic. The wagon lurched violently, throwing crates from its bed. The air was thick with dust and the smell of hay and fear. It seemed like time stood still. The runaway wagon was a disaster waiting to happen, and young Billy was directly in its path. His game of cowboys and cattle was about to become a terrifying reality, a life-or-death struggle against the unforgiving forces of the Wild West. The air crackled with tension as everyone watched, helpless, waiting for the inevitable collision. The only question was, could anyone possibly intervene in time? The answer was barreling down the street, closer and closer with each passing second. Clara, who had been walking towards the Gazette office, stopped dead in her tracks. She saw the runaway wagon, the panicked horses, and the small boy standing frozen in the street. Without a second thought, her medical bag slipped from her grasp, landing with a soft thud in the dust. There was no time to think, no time to plan. Instinct took over. With a burst of speed that surprised even herself, Clara ran towards the wagon. She dodged startled onlookers, her eyes fixed on the frantic scene unfolding before her. The wagon was getting closer and closer to Billy, the gap closing with terrifying speed. Just as the horses were about to reach him, Clara leaped. She launched herself into the air, reaching for the reins with both hands. Her fingers closed around the leather, and she pulled with all her might. The force of the impact nearly ripped her arms from their sockets, but she held on, her small frame straining against the immense power of the runaway horses. The horses, startled by the sudden resistance, reared up, their hooves pawing the air. The wagon swerved violently, throwing more crates from its bed. Clara held on tight, digging her heels into the dusty ground, using all her strength to try and regain control. Slowly, painstakingly, she began to turn the horses, guiding them away from Billy. The wagon wheels screeched against the dirt as it swung around in a wide arc, narrowly missing the general store. Clara continued to pull on the reins, her muscles burning, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, she managed to bring the horses to a stop. They stood panting and trembling, their eyes still wide with fear. The wagon, its contents scattered across the street, was a testament to the chaos that had just unfolded. Clara, her face flushed, her dress covered in dust, slowly climbed down from the wagon. She stood for a moment, catching her breath, her heart pounding in her chest. She had done it. She had stopped the runaway wagon and saved the little boy's life. The town was silent, everyone staring at her in disbelief. Then a cheer erupted, a wave of relief and gratitude washing over the stunned onlookers. Clara Ainsworth, the mail-order bride, had just become a hero. The cheering grew louder, the townsfolk clapping and whistling their appreciation. Among them was a tall, distinguished-looking man with a neatly trimmed mustache and a stern but kind face. He wore a fine tailored suit, a stark contrast to the rough clothing of the cowboys and townsfolk. This was Mr. Beaumont, the most prominent cattle baron in Harmony Gulch and a man of considerable wealth and influence. He pushed his way through the crowd, his eyes fixed on Clara. When he reached her, he knelt down in the dusty street, taking her hand in his. "Madam," he said, his voice deep and resonant, "you have saved my nephew's life. I am eternally in your debt." Clara, still breathless and shaking slightly, looked at him in surprise. "Your nephew?" she asked. Mr. Beaumont nodded, his eyes filled with gratitude. "That young scamp, Billy, is my sister's son. He's staying with us for the summer." He looked over at Billy, who was now being hugged tightly by his parents, tears streaming down their faces. "I'm just glad I was able to help," Clara said modestly, wiping a smudge of dirt from her cheek. "Help?" Mr. Beaumont exclaimed, rising to his feet. "You were magnificent. You risked your own life to save him. There are no words to express my gratitude." He paused, then a determined look came over his face. "I want to do something for you, madam. Anything. Name it, and it is yours." He surveyed the scene, the scattered crates, the trembling horses, the dust-covered heroin. An idea struck him. You said in your letters to Silas Blackwood that you wish to open a clinic here in Harmony Gulch. I will build you the finest clinic in the West. It will be a testament to your bravery and your dedication to helping others. He puffed out his chest slightly. And it will bear my name, of course. The Beaumont Clinic. A name that everyone in these parts respects. He beamed at her, expecting her immediate acceptance. This was, after all, a very generous offer. He was a Beaumont, and everyone knew a Beaumont's name meant something. The crowd murmured its approval, many nodding their heads in agreement. This was a golden opportunity for the newcomer, a chance to establish herself in Harmony Gulch with the backing of one of its most powerful citizens. But Clara Ainsworth was not like most women. She had her own ideas and her own dreams. Clara looked at Mr. Beaumont, her gaze steady and unwavering. The cheers of the town began to fade as people sensed a shift in the atmosphere. This wasn't going to be the simple acceptance Mr. Beaumont expected. Mr. Beaumont, she began, her voice clear and firm, I am deeply grateful for your generous offer. It is truly kind of you. She paused, choosing her words carefully. However, I cannot accept your condition. A collective gasp went through the crowd. Mr. Beaumont's eyebrows shot up in surprise. Condition? He repeated, a hint of disbelief in his voice. But madam, the Beaumont name. Clara held up a hand, stopping him. I understand the value you place on your name, Mr. Beaumont. It is a respected name in these parts, I am sure. But I have a name too, Ainsworth, and it means something to me. She straightened her shoulders, her eyes sparkling with determination. I came to Harmony Gulch to build a clinic, to help people, to make a difference. I want to do it on my own, using my own skills and my own name. She continued, I appreciate your offer of building the clinic, but I want it to be the Ainsworth Clinic, a place where people know they are being cared for by someone who earned it themselves. Mr. Beaumont looked taken aback. He had never encountered a woman who would refuse such an offer, especially a woman in Clara's position. He opened his mouth to argue, but Clara spoke again, her voice filled with conviction. I am not ungrateful, Mr. Beaumont. I simply believe that true success comes from hard work and dedication, not from relying on someone else's name. She paused, then offered a small smile. Perhaps we can find another way to work together. A way that allows me to maintain my independence and still benefit from your generosity. The crowd was silent, hanging on her every word. They had come to expect Mr. Beaumont to get his way in everything. But this small, unassuming woman was standing up to him, and they couldn't help but admire her courage. The dust swirled around them, the wind whispering secrets through the streets of Harmony Gulch, as everyone waited to see how Mr. Beaumont would respond. Would he be offended by her refusal, or would he find a way to compromise? The future of the Ainsworth Clinic and perhaps Clara's future in Harmony Gulch hung in the balance. Mr. Beaumont stroked his mustache, his eyes narrowed in thought. He was a shrewd businessman, and he recognized the fire and determination in Clara's eyes. He also saw the admiration in the eyes of the townspeople who were watching them. Perhaps he had underestimated this mail-order bride. Madam Ainsworth, he said slowly, a hint of respect creeping into his voice, you are a most remarkable woman. He paused, then a smile spread across his face. I admire your spirit. Very well, I will not insist on having my name on the clinic. But I still wish to help you. I have resources and connections that you could use. He continued, tell you what. I will provide the financial backing for the clinic. I will buy the land, the building materials, and the equipment you need. You will be in charge of everything else. You will hire the staff, treat the patients, and run the clinic as you see fit. And, of course, he added with a twinkle in his eye, it will be called the Ainsworth Clinic. Clara's face lit up. This was even better than she had hoped for. Mr. Beaumont, that is incredibly generous, she said, her voice filled with gratitude. I accept your offer with pleasure. They shook hands, sealing the agreement. The crowd erupted in cheers once again, relieved that a compromise had been reached. Mr. Beaumont had shown that he was willing to listen to reason, and Clara had proven that she was a force to be reckoned with. With the agreement settled, Mr. Beaumont turned to the crowd. Let's get this mess cleaned up, he boomed, his voice filled with authority. And someone fetch Silas Blackwood. I believe he has a new partner to meet. The townspeople sprang into action, riding the wagon, gathering the scattered crates, and tending to the horses. The atmosphere was festive, the near tragedy forgotten in the excitement of the moment. Clara watched as the town came together, her heart filled with hope. She had arrived in Harmony Gulch with nothing but a dream, and now, thanks to her bravery and Mr. Beaumont's generosity, that dream was about to become a reality. She knew that building the Ainsworth Clinic wouldn't be easy, but she was ready for the challenge. She had already proven that she was strong, independent, and capable of anything she set her mind to. And she had a feeling that Harmony Gulch was about to become her home. Silas Blackwood, a kindly, older gentleman with a twinkle in his eye, arrived at the scene, his face etched with concern. He'd heard the commotion and rushed over, fearing the worst. Mr. Beaumont clapped him on the shoulder. "Silas, my friend, I believe you have a new partner," he announced, gesturing towards Clara. "Madam Ainsworth here has agreed to open her clinic in Harmony Gulch, and I am providing the funding." Silas's eyes widened in surprise, then he beamed at Clara. "Madam Ainsworth, it is a pleasure to finally meet you. I had hoped you would arrive safely, but I never imagined you would arrive in such a dramatic fashion." Clara smiled, extending her hand. "Mr. Blackwood, the pleasure is all mine. And I assure you, I prefer a less dramatic entrance myself." As Silas and Clara discussed the details of their partnership, Mr. Beaumont approached Clara again, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Madam Ainsworth," he said quietly so only she could hear, "I have been thinking. You are a woman of remarkable courage and independence. You have skills and ambition. And you are clearly not afraid to stand up for what you believe in." He paused, taking a deep breath. "I am a wealthy man, but I am also a lonely one. I have been looking for a wife, someone who can share my life and my dreams. Would you consider marrying me?" Clara was taken aback. She hadn't expected this at all. She looked at Mr. Beaumont, his eyes filled with sincerity. She knew that marrying him would provide her with security and status, and it would certainly make her life easier. But she also knew that it wasn't what she truly wanted. She took a deep breath and replied, her voice gentle but firm, "Mr. Beaumont, I am deeply flattered by your proposal. You are a kind and generous man, and I admire you greatly. However, I cannot accept your offer of marriage." She continued, "I came to Harmony Gulch to build a life for myself, to achieve something on my own. I want to earn my own success, not have it handed to me. And while I appreciate the security that marriage to you would provide, I believe that true happiness comes from being true to oneself." She smiled, hoping to soften the blow. "Besides," she added with a twinkle in her eye, "I am not sure I am ready to give up my name just yet." Mr. Beaumont looked disappointed, but he nodded understandingly. "I respect your decision, Madam Ainsworth," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "I may not understand it, but I respect it. You are a truly remarkable woman, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors." He paused. "Perhaps we can remain friends." "I would like that very much, Mr. Beaumont," Clara replied, relieved that he had taken her rejection so well. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across Harmony Gulch. The town was slowly returning to normal, the excitement of the day fading into a peaceful calm. Clara stood between Silas Blackwood and Mr. Beaumont, feeling a sense of contentment she hadn't felt in a long time. She had arrived in Harmony Gulch with nothing but a dream, and now that dream was finally within reach. And she was going to achieve it on her own terms. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Mr. Beaumont, true to his word, wasted no time in acquiring a suitable plot of land and hiring a crew to begin construction on the Ainsworth Clinic. Silas Blackwood, with his knowledge of the town and its people, proved to be an invaluable resource, helping Clara navigate the local customs and find trustworthy suppliers. Clara, meanwhile, poured all her energy into planning the clinic's layout, ordering medical supplies, and interviewing potential staff. She wanted to create a welcoming and comfortable environment for her patients, a place where they could feel safe and cared for. She envisioned a bright and airy waiting room, clean and well-equipped examination rooms, and a small but functional laboratory. Mr. Beaumont, though busy with his cattle ranch, made regular visits to the construction site, offering advice and encouragement. He was impressed by Clara's dedication and her attention to detail. He had come to respect her not only for her bravery but also for her intelligence and her unwavering commitment to her dream. As the clinic began to take shape, the townspeople of Harmony Gulch watched with growing anticipation. They had come to admire Clara for her courage and her independent spirit, and they were eager to see her succeed. They offered their help in any way they could, volunteering to clean, paint, and furnish the clinic. Billy, the young boy whose life Clara had saved, became a frequent visitor to the construction site, his eyes wide with fascination. He would often sit and watch Clara work, peppering her with questions about medicine and healing. Clara, in turn, would patiently explain the basics of anatomy and physiology, sparking a curiosity in the young boy that would last a lifetime. Slowly but surely, the Ainsworth Clinic began to transform from a dusty construction site into a beacon of hope for the people of Harmony Gulch. It was a testament to Clara's vision, Mr. Beaumont's generosity, and the community's unwavering support. It was a place where healing and compassion would thrive, a place where everyone was welcome regardless of their wealth or status. And it was all thanks to a mail-order bride who had dared to dream of a better life, not just for herself but for everyone around her. The grand opening was just around the corner and the entire town was buzzing with excitement. The day of the grand opening dawned bright and clear, the sun shining down on Harmony Gulch with a warm and welcoming glow. The town was festooned with colorful banners and streamers, and the air was filled with the sounds of music and laughter. The entire community had turned out to celebrate the opening of the Ainsworth Clinic, a testament to Clara's vision and their own unwavering spirit. Clara, dressed in a simple but elegant blue dress, stood proudly in front of the clinic, greeting the arriving guests. Her face was radiant with joy and excitement, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. She shook hands with the townsfolk, thanking them for their support and welcoming them to her clinic. Mr. Beaumont, looking dapper in his finest suit, stood beside her, beaming with pride. He had come to see Clara as a friend and a respected colleague, and he was genuinely happy to see her dream come to fruition. Silas Blackwood, ever the jovial host, mingled with the crowd, ensuring that everyone felt welcome and comfortable. A long table laden with refreshments lined one side of the clinic, offering a variety of delicious treats and drinks. Children ran around, playing games and laughing, their carefree spirits adding to the festive atmosphere. The air was filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and the sweet scent of wildflowers. But the most striking feature of the scene was the sign hanging above the entrance to the clinic. It was a simple wooden sign, painted in bold letters, but it carried a powerful message: the Ainsworth Clinic. Clara's surname, proudly displayed for all to see, was a symbol of her independence, her determination, and her unwavering commitment to her dream. As the sun reached its zenith, Clara stepped forward to address the crowd. Her voice was clear and strong, filled with emotion. "My friends," she began, "I am overwhelmed by your support and your generosity. Today is a day that I have dreamed of for many years. A day when I can finally open my own clinic and provide medical care to those who need it most." She continued, "I came to Harmony Gulch with nothing but a dream and a bag full of medical books. You welcomed me with open arms, you supported me every step of the way, and you helped me make that dream a reality. For that I am eternally grateful." She paused, her eyes sweeping across the crowd. "The Ainsworth Clinic is not just my clinic. It is your clinic. It is a place where everyone is welcome regardless of their wealth or status. It is a place where healing and compassion will always be our top priorities." She concluded, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this day possible. May the Ainsworth Clinic be a beacon of hope and healing for Harmony Gulch for many years to come." The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the streets of the town. Clara had finally achieved her dream, and Harmony Gulch had gained a valuable asset. The Ainsworth Clinic was officially open for business. The Ainsworth Clinic quickly became the heart of Harmony Gulch. Clara worked tirelessly, tending to the sick and injured, delivering babies, and offering comfort to those in need. Her skills as a doctor were undeniable, but it was her compassion and her genuine care for her patients that truly set her apart. She treated everyone with respect and dignity regardless of their background or their ability to pay. She often worked late into the night, tending to patients who couldn't afford to travel to the clinic during the day. She even made house calls, braving the harsh weather and the treacherous terrain to reach those who were too sick or injured to come to her. The townspeople of Harmony Gulch came to rely on Clara not only for her medical expertise but also for her wisdom and her kindness. She became a trusted advisor, a confidant, and a friend to many. She helped them navigate the challenges of life in the Wild West, offering guidance and support whenever they needed it. Mr. Beaumont, true to his word, remained a steadfast supporter of the Ainsworth Clinic. He often visited the clinic, not just to check on its progress but also to spend time with Clara. He admired her work ethic, her dedication, and her unwavering commitment to her patients. He had come to see her as an equal, a partner, and a true friend. Silas Blackwood continued to work alongside Clara, managing the administrative side of the clinic and providing invaluable support. He was a constant source of encouragement, always ready with a smile and a kind word. He had come to see Clara as a daughter, a bright and talented young woman who was making a real difference in the world. Even Billy, the young boy whose life Clara had saved, became a regular fixture at the clinic. He would often help Clara with small tasks, running errands, cleaning equipment, and offering a helping hand wherever he could. He was fascinated by medicine, and Clara encouraged his curiosity, allowing him to observe her as she treated patients and performed procedures. As the years passed, Clara Ainsworth became a beloved member of the Harmony Gulch community. She had proven that bravery and independence were far more valuable than a name. She had built a successful clinic, earned the respect of her peers, and made a lasting impact on the lives of countless people. She had arrived in Harmony Gulch as a mail-order bride, seeking a place where she could use her skills and make a difference. And she had found that place not just in the clinic she had built, but in the hearts of the people she had served. The Ainsworth Clinic stood as a beacon of hope and healing, a testament to the power of courage, compassion, and the unwavering spirit of a woman who dared to dream of a better world. And so, the story of Clara Ainsworth, the mail-order bride who saved a child from a runaway wagon, became a legend in Harmony Gulch, a reminder that even in the Wild West, anything is possible with a little bit of bravery, a lot of hard work, and a whole lot of heart.